Hey, good today morning, everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here. I'm recording this video right around 8 a.m. and we're going to do an update this morning on what's going on now and what we expect to happen later on today. Our antenna remains up, if you will, for the potential for severe weather later on today and into early tonight, although it's certainly not a slam dunk. One thing for sure, it is raining in most of the area this morning, and it's raining at a pretty good clip. This is the regional radar. No severe weather threat this morning. The red box over Kentucky, that's the tornado watch that's in effect for those areas this morning. For us, it's just heavy rain for a time and some rumbles of thunder this morning. And our big question today is, how does the atmosphere recover after a rainy night and a rainy start to the day? Rain cools and kind of stabilizes the atmosphere. Will we be able to see the atmosphere destabilize this afternoon with a break in the rain and a warm front lifting off to the north? And speaking of that warm front, it's not hard to find when you bring up the dew point map this morning. The dew point's a measure of how much moisture is in the air. The higher the number, the more moisture there is in the air. And our warm front is down here. This is where the deeper moisture is currently, south of Interstate 70. So from Columbus on south, those dew points are well up into the 50s, even some lower 60s. That's pretty muggy, if you will, for this early in the season. Now, locally, our dew points are lower right now, but this more moisture-laden air will try to cruise northward as we go into the afternoon. It's just a matter of how far north does that warmer air get. As I mentioned, we've seen a pretty good slug of rain. These are some 24-hour rainfall totals, and especially in our southeastern viewing area, it's been pretty common to see an inch plus worth of rain over the last 24 hours, where the rest of the area has seen generally a little less than an inch, but still some pretty healthy amounts going back to yesterday morning. Here's a look at the severe weather outlook update put out by the Storm Prediction Center. That's part of the National Weather Service, and they issue these updated outlooks a few times a day, and this was the overnight outlook. We'll get an update this morning, and I don't expect a whole lot in the way of change this morning. We think of our severe weather scale as kind of a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the lowest risk, but severe weather can still occur in that level 1 risk. It's just a little less common than when you get up to a level 2, level 3, level 4, etc. And level 4 risk, moderate risk, in this red color here. This includes places like Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cambridge, over towards the Canton area down to Dover, New Philly. The enhanced risk, level 3, then extends up to about Akron and over towards parts of our television viewing area. So the general idea you take away from this map is the higher severe weather risks are south and west of Youngstown, with lower risks north and east. Now, the risk is not zero as you go up towards Youngstown and places north and east of there, but it's definitely lower as far as the severe weather risk the farther north and east you go today. Included in that risk for general severe weather today, we can talk about the tornado risk. This is the risk of a tornado within 25 miles of any place on the map, and when you get into the red color, that's about a 15% or higher risk of a tornado, again, within 25 miles of any one point on the map. 15% sounds like a smallish number. It's actually pretty big. When you talk about a tornado risk on any given day, the risk of a tornado is way below 1%. So 15% and higher is a significant risk. And again, some of the same places I mentioned before are in that risk zone, including the I-70 corridor and down towards the Ohio River, whereas you get up towards Youngstown, and especially north and east of Youngstown, the risk is not zero, but it is lower. All these dashed black lines embedded in the heart of that risk, that's what we call a hatched area, and that means the Storm Prediction Center is particularly concerned about significant tornadoes, EF2 or higher, the kind of tornadoes that can really, really cause a lot of damage. That's where the risk is highest. All right, so how's today going to play out? Let's show you one model depiction showing the simulated radar. And again, the idea is we get our heavy rain this morning, and then we should see kind of a break in the action as we head towards midday. This is right around 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and as you can see, not much going on at this point. So around lunchtime today, it should be a lot less active and a lot less wet than it is first thing this morning. But storms will continue to try to fire down here towards the Ohio River, Cincinnati, Louisville, places like that. For us in Northeast Ohio and Northwest PA, we're going to be keeping a close eye on how far north that warm front gets, because that will determine how unstable the atmosphere can become as we head towards late afternoon and especially into this evening. Here's the simulated radar at, let's stop the clock here at 5 p.m. And this is when I would expect a tornado watch to have been issued for at least western and central Ohio at this point, with any of this activity out here potentially severe. Dayton, Lima, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, especially south and east of Indianapolis. That's going to be the zone we'll be watching late afternoon. And then we'll be keeping an eye on what happens with that activity as it comes east as we transition into the evening. So let's keep playing this forward. Here's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And at this point, you have a line or a semi-discrete line of storms out here, still closer to I-75. Any of this activity, though, riding along our warm front in northeast Ohio and northwest PA will definitely have to be monitored at that point. Again, that's 7 p.m. Here's 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And at this point, we start to lose some of the best ingredients for severe weather as we go into the mid-evening. The atmosphere will not be quite as unstable. The storms that fed off that really high moisture content out here will start to lose their pep a little bit as they come east and start to encounter the lower moisture content of the atmosphere as you get close to the Ohio-PA line. So I would expect our severe weather threat to start waning as we get closer to 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Our window is probably best around here, right around sunset. And, you know, what about the tornado risk? What we're looking at here, and let me kind of zoom out on this. This is what we call the significant tornado parameter. Basically a model or a model depiction of the ingredients for tornadic activity. The brighter colors, the better the ingredients. And this, you know, indice, this tornado parameter, really reaches its maxima right around, say 6, 7 o'clock, or about 6 o'clock, I should say, especially out towards I-75. So right out through here where you get those yellow colors. That's where the tornado risk appears to be highest. But you'll notice as we play this forward into the early evening, we start to get, you know, our warm front gets to about Route 30, give or take. So it gets to about Canton, gets to about Lisbon, East Palestine, places like that. The farther north, the warm front struggles to get that far to the north and to the north and east. That's why the tornado risk is generally lower the farther north and northeast you head across our area. But there's going to be a window here where the significant tornado parameter is nothing to sneeze at early this evening. Again, especially if you're south and southwest of Youngstown, and then that significant tornado parameter kind of dissipates quickly as we go into the rest of the evening and into the overnight. So what I want you to take away from this video, we remain on guard for the potential for severe weather this evening, especially early this evening, right around sunset or an hour or so after sunset. So right around, say, 6:30 to 9 o'clock, something like that. That's the kind of window we're looking at. The risk is highest south and southwest of Youngstown and lower north and northeast. But even in those north and northeast areas, pay attention to the weather later on today. Have multiple ways, redundant ways of getting warnings. Don't rely on outdoor tornado sirens. They are unreliable and, of course, not designed to be heard indoors. My favorite way to get warned whenever new warnings are issued, the Storm Tracker 21 app. Make sure you have that downloaded with the push alerts turned on. We'll keep you updated throughout the day on social media on that Storm Tracker 21 app. And, of course, live on air this evening on 21 News at 5 and 6. And we'll do any live streaming coverage as needed this evening. And we'll pop on television if we have any tornado warnings. In the meantime, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thanks for watching, everyone. This is 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. Look for more updates throughout the day.